whatever this is. That's how it should be. Even with the element disadvantage, all is right with the world. That was one thing I remember about Pokemon, actually, was constantly, because I remember when I played Pokemon, I hardly ever, I didn't keep a diverse team, a bunch of different types of Pokemon. I remember back when I played that game as a kid, I was mainly just all about just power leveling my one starting Pokemon, and that's how I got through that game. And it was a viable strategy, honestly, because if you just give all the experience to one Pokemon, then they'd just be so ridiculously overpowered and higher leveled than everything else. I don't know why I'm holding on to these truth glasses. That's honestly one of the most useless items in the game. I mean, it's kind of neat. It's kind of for curiosity's sake. I kind of like using them just to see what monster egg I have in my inventory, but I guess they also have the use of revealing spell balls, and I guess they would actually, yeah, you could use them on your equipment before you use it to make sure that it's not cursed. They're not entirely useless, but yeah, it's the kind of thing that you basically want to get out of your inventory as soon as possible, because just about any other item short of the most useless herbs will be better. Good grief. Traps are just running me amok this time. God damn it. It's see, and this is how I remember this game. I was surprised at how few traps I was encountering up to this point, but yeah, now these last couple of runs, yeah, this is what I remember. This is what I remember about this game the last time I went through. It's oh god, poison trap, rust trap, a lot more rust traps is what I remember. I honestly remember it's every tower run I do, I'd run into 3 rust traps, and it was the most annoying shit in the world. But I don't know, maybe I just got unlucky. Or maybe I'm just getting lucky this time, I don't know. I say I'm getting lucky this time, even though I got I basically got slam-trapped to death on literally the only possible time that could have happened. Actually, Baku's actually not a bad familiar. These early floors with the flowers there become a bit more dangerous once you replace Baku. If you're using a familiar, that is. They become a bit more dangerous once you replace your starting familiar, just because, again, that brainwashing immunity is actually pretty useful, as it turns out. Or not that it's super useful. It's basically, yeah, in fact, it's only ever useful on the first floors. Or, that's not true. I think there might be a brainwashing trap. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've seen that before, is that there's a brainwashing trap in the game, but if there is, it's extremely rare. I'm pretty sure I've seen one before, but I might have seen it only a few times. Now, that's the weird thing with this game. It's all the stuff in this game that's rare is insanely rare, to the point where you could play through the game 7 or 8 times, go through 100 tower runs, and still not see pretty much, and not see any of the rare stuff in this game. It's totally ridiculous. It's kind of an example of another one of those little things that I think, just a tiny little thing that brings the game down just a little bit. I think there's just so many different things. Oh, and actually, how could I have forgotten to talk about this up to this point with all of the stuff I've been saying about they should remake this game. There's so many little things they could do to improvement. There actually is a remake of this game on Game Boy Color, or it's essentially a remake. It's basically the same setting and everything. Same main characters. In fact, same characters in general. But yeah, there's a there's a Game Boy Color version of Azure Dreams. The thing is, it's an extremely simplified version of the game. It's all of that. I was talking about how the game is kind of substandard as it goes, it's got all these different elements to it. You've got your dating sim stuff, your town building stuff, your monster raising, your dungeon delving, all of these different things that are in this game. And basically the Game Boy Color version kind of dumbs down and removes most of them. basically. There's no dating sim, there's no town building, there's monster raising, but like a lot of the complicated fusion stuff is gone. Oh, does anything happen? Okay, he doesn't. He won't eat it. But, they took out, like, a lot of the good stuff, or, yeah, a lot of those little sort of side systems from the game. And, yeah, they also simplified the monster raising aspect. I'm pretty sure they took fusion, like, right out of the game. I could be wrong, but I think you can... No, I remember. You can have two monsters out at once, but, yeah, a lot of the sort of directly issuing commands to your familiars, that stuff was taken out. A lot of the magic is different, and it's they basically just took the game and made it worse, basically, in just about every way. And and the other thing, so there's all those ways in which the game is kind of worse than the PlayStation version, and then this one. So yeah, even just based on that, it's kind of not really worth playing. In fact, they took out so much stuff. I'd honestly say that it's not even a good game, taken on its own merits at that point. It's like just kind of a substandard. I was going to say Monster Hunter there again. A substandard mystery dungeon style game with some light monster raising elements, extremely light, barely there. The game kind of loses everything endearing about it, really, when you take out all of that stuff. And it's like I've been saying, even though all of those, like a lot of those elements are kind of undeveloped, even here in the PlayStation version, it's like they're kind of developed just well enough that they add to the overall experience. Like I really like that all these things are in the game here. I wish that a lot of them had been developed a bit more, but to the extent that they are developed, it's good enough for what it is. All of those little pieces really add to the game overall in a fairly significant way, I think. I wouldn't want to... There's none of these systems I would think... The game would be worse if you removed any of those aspects, as is evidenced by the Game Boy version. But even apart from all of that, the Game Boy version is just completely ruined entirely by this one stupid thing that they did where it's... instead of having... Because, the way the game works now, everything is animated. Like, all your tower run... Oh, okay. That was fine, I guess. But, basically you can see how I'm moving around, and my familiar... combat is basically played out just like right here on the map. There's no separate... There's like no cutaway separate screen for battles or anything like that, like in some RPGs, because, I mean, that's not surprising that they do it that way. That's the way most dungeon crawling style RPGs work, but for some reason, in the Game Boy version of Azure Dreams, they set it so that whenever you attack a monster, it like cuts away to like this little battle scene. Sort of like in fact, it's very similar to Pokemon when it does this. It cuts away to this separate battle scene and then plays out a little attack animation and then cuts back to the dungeon map. And it does this every time. It doesn't do it every time. It's kind of weird. Sometimes it does it and sometimes it does. But most of the time it does it, where it's just like whenever somebody attacks someone else, it cuts away to this separate battle scene and an animation plays out, and there's really no way to I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure that there's actually no way to disable it, which is just completely terrible. It draws out the game like ridiculously. Like, if anything, I think that's actually a small flaw with even this version of the game, is I think that the attack animations take just a little bit too long to play out for my liking. Like, I like how... Like if you look at a game like, for example, Shiren the Wanderer, the attack animations in that game play out... Like, the attack and spell animations play out more than twice as fast as the ones in this game, and it really helps to speed up the pace of the game overall, I think. Whereas, in this game, whenever you're like involved in a battle, it's it takes a while to resolve as a result of all of these animations. And this was an extremely common problem from back in the PS1 era. I remember, and in fact, pretty much every game every RPG on the PS1 had. Is that even true? I literally can't think. All the Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy Tactics, the Vandal Hearts games. Yeah, literally every PlayStation 1 RPG I can think of. Oh god, Xenogears was the worst. Or technically it wasn't the animation. Xenogears actually had like really fast, like sort of martial arts things. The thing is, because you'd string them all together, it would end up taking a really long time. And oh yeah, same with the and yeah, Xenogears, yeah, and with the mech battles though it was really bad. So yeah, Xenogears had that problem. The worst offender I can recall was Legend of Legaia, where it had a similar to Xenogears, where it had this combat system where you're kind of stringing moves together into a combo, except where Xenogears had like the sense to that all of those little combo, like every hit in the combo would play out really fast. It was like a fighting game type animation where it'd just be like punch, 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 win thing, kick. It'd just be like that fast. The thing that made it take too long was that you'd string together like 6 or 7 of those every time someone attacks. And then you go and get into the giant robot battles where you wouldn't have the combos wouldn't be as long, but the hits would take a lot longer. So it's like, I don't know what I want to get rid of here. Or the wood shield, herpaderp. Oh, and the Shomuro seed. Yeah, it's really not. It's only 1 defense. I would like to give that to win, but I'm not going to bank on him waking up, and it's not really worth my time, like carrying that over into the next tower run, or to risk losing it by saving it and then dying with it. But anyways, Legend of Legaia had this similar battle system to Xenogears, where you're stringing together moves. The only problem is that it did not have the sense to slow down the attack animation. So you'd have like these really and the super moves where they'd like charge up and then do like this really slow motion like cartwheel kick nonsense. And it's like every single attack in that game, like every attack combo in that game would take like literally like tens of seconds to resolve. It was the worst shit. And then they decided, and yeah, it's really a thing. Yeah, really a epidemic, I think, in the PS1 era. Literally every RPG had that problem. I can think. Like I'm racking my brain of like trying to think of all the RPGs that I played back in that day, and I think literally all of them had that problem. Or actually, that's not true. Grandia. How could I forget Grandia? That should have been the first game that I, that should be the first game that I think of when I think of PS1 RPGs. But yeah, Grandia did not have that problem. Or if, some of the spell animations were a bit long, but even the longest ones were like no longer than like the length of an average like fire spell in Final Fantasy. So yeah, Grandia did not have that problem. Or at least didn't have it to as severe a degree as other PS1 RPGs, but other than that, as far as I can remember, literally every PS1 RPG has basically combat animations are far, far too long and drag out combat needlessly. And even this game suffers from it to an extent. And the Game Boy Color version suffers from it even more, which is ridiculous because, I mean, you'd think that, like, handheld games typically don't suffer from, like, or at least Game Boy games don't tend to suffer from, like, over-animation. Like, the handheld games tend to keep things pretty quick and simple, because that's, like, the essence of what handheld gaming is supposed to be about. Like, you know, toilet gaming, bus gaming, that kind of stuff. Stuff that that doesn't take too long to resolve. And it's like you get through a lot of content in a short period of time. Like, games nowadays understand that, I think. Like, in fact, I think that's why a lot of the best JRPGs nowadays are released on handheld systems. Oh my god, a handheld version of Azure Dreams, like a handheld re-release of this game with like all the little problems fixed. Oh my god, I really wish Konami would bring this game. Like they did. Or okay, I guess that's actually an argument for them not wanting them to do this, because yeah, I was about to say they did it with Vandal Hearts. They brought that back with the Flames of Judgment, but. Yeah, actually, thinking back on Flames of Judgment, maybe it's for the best that they just leave this one in the Konami vault. Oh god, Flames of Judgment. It wasn't a dreadful game by any means. It was just like, just kind of cashing in on nostalgia, really. And it looked dreadful. It was like, honestly, one of the least... Just the character designs were the most retarded looking shit yeah, pretty close to the most retarded looking shit I've ever seen in a video game. This is a terrible art design in Flames of Judgment. And apart from that, the combat system was just kind of generic, which I guess is true of the original Vandal Hearts too. But actually, I don't know if I'm over. That might be one for another LP. Actually, is the original Vandal Hearts. That's one that I haven't played in a really long time, or not a super long time. It's probably I'm pretty sure I've played it within like the last 5 or 6 years or so, but certainly no sooner than that. And I remember I enjoyed it the last time I played it. In fact, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was better than I remembered at the time. Yeah, we can probably leave this floor. But, yeah, that'd be one that might be actually worth going back and reevaluating. Because, yeah, the original Vandal Hearts was a pretty generic, turn strategy RPG, basically. In fact, it's one of the most generic ones I can think of. But it was pretty neat. You had, like, some pretty neat set pieces in the... In fact, let's save this. I might play through that one for the channel at some points, but yeah, I remember it being pretty good. It had some pretty neat little set-piece battles. A lot of neat little twists that would be like introduced in the middle of the battles, little gimmicks, that kind of thing. Okay, we're kind of getting up to the... Or actually, no, wow, Baku's got a lot of HP at this point. I guess we're still only on, like, tower level, what, like 12 or 13 or something, and he's at level like, 24 or something, so... I guess it's to be expected that he should be still kicking ass at this point. How's his MP doing? That might be the issue with this LP, is where I just go through and I end up just like exhausting and like saying everything that I have to say about every PS1 game ever made. I guess maybe just to talk about that era in gaming in general. That's probably, in my mind, that was kind of the golden age of gaming. In a certain sense, like it's, you could argue that a lot of the games released back then don't really hold up nowadays, but it kind of set the basis for pretty much all of the games we play nowadays. It's like your third-person character action games, sort of the modern paradigms in JRPG design. Hell, for a first-person, like yeah, Kingsfield. And just a lot of like really innovative, groundbreaking games that sort of form the basis for pretty much all of the games we play today, essentially. That was basically what the PS1 era was in a nutshell, in my opinion, at least. And as well as that, just a lot of this, even a lot of the stuff back then was just a lot more... there were a lot of really good ideas floating around, a lot of really innovative stuff going around. Like I said, like yeah, stuff like first-person games, character action games, like stuff like Jumping Flash. It's like you don't see like an FPS like that released nowadays. Like that was like crazy, like really neat. There was like a really neat idea, and it's honestly I think it holds up pretty well. That's another one I was kind of thinking about doing for the channel. Oh, I'm actually getting my ass kicked here. Please. Get out of your froggy state, and can please help me beat on this chocobo. I need your help. Come on, man. Oh, okay. This is what's... Okay, there we go. Thank you. Okay, we're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. It's kind of embarrassing. I say that, but it's happened like 50 times at this... Ooh, we could actually die here if we're not careful. What to do? Do we have anything to kill him with? No, we don't. This might be the point where we back... I don't know, we've got all the pita fruits, though, as the thing. Damn. We can blaze ball it. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Yeah, put him there, out of the way, and then we are... which is... I think the flame ball is actually stronger. We want the stronger one to make sure that we get to kill him. Oh, I think that was actually the weaker one, but whatever, it's actually good enough, so let's do it again! Because yeah, normally I could take these guys, but we're both pretty low from that ridiculous frog incident, so... Fire crystal, I believe we had determined that those are not worth that much. Oh, damn it. Baku, how you doing? You can okay, it doesn't matter. Apparently he doesn't want to pursue. Apparently, yeah, the Griffin there agreed that we probably would have been able to take him, and he wisely backed off. That's fine. I don't know why the monsters gotta, you know, be up in everyone's grill. Anyway, or I guess they maybe don't get a lot to eat. But yeah. Although, yeah, with that said, why don't they... You never see monsters attacking each other in this game, though. This is gonna be annoying. Okay, I think the Blaze Ball is actually stronger, and we'll be wanting that for... Or maybe not. This could be bad. I mean, yeah, I've got 3 spell... Okay, well, it looks like there is actually not a lot of difference between the strength of those balls. This was dumb. I did a dumb thing there. It doesn't matter, he missed anyways. That seems to be happening like an inordinate amount of times here, where I, like, screw up like that and give the monsters the first attack, and then they miss with it anyways. Maybe I am getting just unusually lucky this run. This playthrough, this game, I mean. Anyways, we're just gonna hang out here till we refill some HPs. Baku, get over here. See, that's what happened if you stay. What happens if you stay over there? If you'd have actually been like in here, fighting the monsters like you're supposed to, like your only function, the only thing you contribute to this team, getting up in the monsters' faces and beating the hell out of them. If you'd actually do that, you would not get these rises thrown in your face all the time. Oh man, the more I think about it, the more I like really want, even though I like kind of doubt modern day Konami's ability to do it justice, it's just the more I think about it, the more I'd like really like, or if not a sequel, then like a spiritual successor to Azure Dreams. It's like just such a great concept. And yeah, in fact, yeah, definitely this game is certainly another example of Hazak. Oh, I think that's the attacking power, whatever. Wasn't going to use that on the clown anyway, since we don't really want him attacking basically ever. And yeah, this is another example of like a really like innovative game that does a lot of cool things. It's not really innovative, I'd say, so much as it just takes conventions from a lot of different game genres and mashes them up with a fair degree of success. It's just like, yeah, a lot of unusual games. And oh yeah, Ghost in the Shell. It's like a third-person shooter basically, where you're like driving this tank. You can like go up the walls and stuff, and it's like, oh, it's a really cool idea for a shooter. And it's like, when was the last time you saw something like that in like a modern day like FPS or something like that? Or actually, there was I think it was a multiplayer. There was some multiplayer game released recently that where there was like, yeah, some kind of, it was like a kind of like an alien. Like an Aliens knockoff type thing, where it was like a multiplayer game where you've got like one side playing as like some Aliens-style Marines, and another side playing as, oh god, Baku. Okay, good. Baku's on point. Standing exactly where he needs to be to protect my paralyzed ass from this rampaging blue chocobo.